I appreciate you going 2 minutes into the interview before making fun of AOC. You showed some
Well,
restraint
she's really
there,
raised the
Dinesh.
tone. She's, I think, well, I mean, think about it. We have a real underrepresentation of bartenders at high levels in politics. So she is contributing to the diversity of our discourse.
It sounds like she just triggers you, or maybe you have like a secret crush on her.
No, she doesn't trigger me, actually. The one I find more intriguing, I mean, look, there's this socialist camp. And so let's do a quick rundown if we can. Bernie, my take on him is he's basically Rip Van Winkle. He's like the guy who fell asleep for 30 years. He woke up, he saw like Uber, Airbnb, iPhones. And he has that dazed look of a guy who can't believe it. So that's Bernie.
Yeah.
And I think, the Democrats realize we can't go with this guy. I mean, praising bread lines, honeymooning in the Soviet Union, it's a bit too much.
Yeah. He woke up and all of a sudden there were like 30 varieties of deodorant at the store, and he just
lost it.
What is this?
What?
Back in my day.
I know exactly.
He just
the
had
evils
the
of the
deodorant back in his day.
That's non-essential items that people invest in when they could be doing such much nobler pursuits, but like eating organic food. And then there's AOC, about whom the less said the better. Ilhan Omar is the one that sort of intrigues me because in my book, and at some point I kind of have to throw in the book because I'm on the book tour, United States of Socialism.
Holding it up for you right now.
But here's the point, that Ilhan Omar is the most intriguing, I think, of the bunch, because she represents this, I call it identity socialism, because it's a hybrid between classic socialism, which focused on class, and identity politics, which is race, gender. So Ilhan Omar kind of checks all the boxes. First of all, she's black. Second of all, she is Muslim. Third, she is a woman. And then she's from the desert. So this is part of what gives her a kind of a global appeal that even AOC doesn't have. If someone saw AOC from another country, they would just see this as an example of vulgar Americanism. But Ilhan Omar is someone who has appeals certainly to the Islamic community worldwide.
Yeah, sounds like another crush that you have, Dinesh.
There's a lot of women on the cover.
Right. 3 out of 4. And the other one, this is interesting, Elizabeth Warren. Now, Elizabeth Warren technically denies that she's a socialist. Michael Moore says that she denies it for strategic reasons, that she is, but she pretends not to be. But that's basically who she is. She's all about pretense, I love the old, she's surprised to see her husband in her own house. Fancy seeing you here. Thanks for showing up. That's really nice of you. But I think you can see how powerful this identity politics has become in the Democratic Party. Elizabeth Warren is a woman. You think that'd be enough? I'm a woman. That's my trump card. I got that going for me. But no, she wants to be what they call a twofer. A twofer means you're a minority on two fronts. You're a woman, but you're also a person of color. Now, she doesn't have that. This is kind of why the fake ancestry came in really handy. And this is why it was so important for her to pretend to be an American Indian.
That was classic.
Yeah. Now, she could have tried to be an Asian Indian, but I don't think that would have gotten her a tenured spot at Harvard.
Yeah.
The Asian Indians don't count. Only I can't say the real Indians do, because we're the real Indians. Columbus kind of got it wrong.
Yeah.
So the American Indians are actually the ones who, I guess the American Indians are kind of fake Indians in their own way. And then Elizabeth Warren is a fake of a fake.
Do you ever get to play the Indian card?
Oh, the Indian card. A lot of good that does me. No, it doesn't help at all. In fact, if you're a conservative, being a minority, far from being a blessing, becomes a sort of an added curse. Now, not entirely. I think it would be, if I were a black conservative, I would get far more heat, because as you know, there are these nasty, you're an Uncle Tom, you're this, you're that. Now, Asian Indians aren't sufficiently settled in this country to do that, so that even if you have a sort of a left-wing Indian, and they see me on Fox News or something, they go tell their mom, can can you believe that they're having, Dinesh D'Souza? And their mom goes, hey, there's an Indian on TV. They're really excited. So that helps to give me a little bit of protection. And but no, brownie points for it? No way.
How often, being among conservatives, do you have people confuse you for one of them Arabs?
Well, I think ever since I stopped wearing the turban, that was a little bit of a problem in the old days. And I think also when I first came to this country, I actually had this sort of sing-song Indian accent. I also did I don't do it anymore. In fact, I can't do it. But there's the kind of classic Indian, I call it the Indian head wobble. Mm-hmm. It's a wobble that is in between a yes and a no. And it's really difficult to say what the Indian is saying, because if you ask him something, he goes, and it's the wobble. And so I had all these things, which I think would probably have helped me if I'd kept them, hung on to them, so to speak. And because I would then be able to do a lot of ethnic affirmation. And when people start criticizing me, I could kind of do a massive Indian rant on them. And it would be more intimidating if it came with a sort of unadulterated Indian accent.
One side note, you were talking about the head wobble. Have you ever noticed Seinfeld? When he's on Seinfeld, the sitcom, his head doesn't wobble. But when he's just talking in normal life, his head wobbles a bunch. You ever notice that? He has a really wobbly head.
I wonder if he's kind of a wannabe Indian. He may be I wonder if he's trying to do the Elizabeth Warren thing.
He has this little wobble. I don't know.
Yeah, very interesting. I had not noticed that.
Maybe he's going to convert to Indianism for the jokes.
Well, the guy who's a full convert, Trudeau. I mean, this Justin Trudeau guy, I don't know if you've seen his Bollywood moves on, I've seen that only on social media. My nausea level can only take about so much of it. But evidently it didn't prevent him from getting reelected. So apparently the Canadians, this kind of, beta male kowtowing, which, by the way, we're seeing in this country. You see all these rituals of worship. You see the young white couple kissing these Black Lives Matter guys' shoes, and then all these kind of cult-like Jim Jones style kind of group instructions and virtue. I think I'm going out on a limb here, but I've got to trace this to the decline of Christianity in our culture, because it's created a need for new forms of liturgy, new types of sacraments, new types of expressions of virtue, new types of seeking of absolution, not for anything that you did, right? But kind of for the sins of society. People are taking on the burden of what people did in 1619.